All right, y'all, we'll get started. My name is Caitlin Aaron. I'm not the community director, the resident director for Kennedy and Watson Halls this year. We're super excited to have you with us and to get to know some of our residents this evening. You should have gotten an email with all of this information, but essentially we're just going to go over some important information for you to know about our halls. If you have any questions throughout our presentation, go ahead and put them in the chat. Our grads here, Vonnie and Brandon, will go ahead and be moderating that and possibly answering some questions as they come in. We will show you lots of different things, including some photos of the furniture in Kennedy, which we just got today. So that is super exciting. We're glad to have y'all here. All right. So welcome again, Watson and Kennedy. Some more information about me. My primary office will be in Kennedy. I will be in room 1111, which I know doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but once you move into the facility, you'll be able to walk into our clubhouse area and my office is going to be connected off of there. If you have any questions between now and your move-in, you're going to be getting a ton of information from our housing department in general, but you're also welcome to reach out to me. KM Aaron, as you see on the screen at georgiasouthern.edu, is going to be my staff email. So if you need anything now or in the future, that is definitely a great location for you to reach me. And Vonnie and Brandon, do y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I am Vonnie Slater. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the graduate resident director of Watson Hall, and I'm a student similar to your students. So this year I'm studying clinical mental health counseling.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Davis, and I'll be the graduate resident director for Kennedy Hall. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I will be studying higher education administration in my first year as a grad student here at GSU. And right now I don't have a staff email, but my office is located in Kennedy Hall, 1113, which is right next to Caitlin's office.
And Brandon, we'll have an email before y'all get here too. So
Okay.
that will be exciting.
Hey.
We'll make it happen. All right, so we are home. Watson and Kennedy Hall are home to one learning community, which is out of Watson. So that is Geektopia. Vonnie, do you want to share some on that?
Yes, absolutely. Geektopia is something that I got to work with last year since I was also in Watson Hall last year. Super passionate about it because it's so fun. It's a themed community where people who appreciate geek culture can find other people who also love geek culture. We have a goal behind it that we want to talk and get involved with social justice. So that means as our students are talking about their favorite anime characters, their favorite superheroes, whatever your geek culture may be, we get to discuss how your favorite characters really develop themselves and become involved in the communities that they're in and the impact that they make. And so it's a really cool opportunity, not only to have fun and geek off and just be yourself and grow into that, but to get involved with the community that we are a part of.
Awesome. And again, Geektopia is a themed community that is in Watson. There's a couple of students who are in part of that community, so they get to do specialized programming and things like that. Kennedy is not currently home to any specialized populations when it comes to a learning community or a theme community. However, we are hoping to see some activity with some faculty members as we are going to be potentially launching a faculty fellows program out of Kennedy Hall this year. So you may see some faculty in our community as well. We're going to go over some basic amenities. For Watson Hall, you can see there's all of these dimensions. If you want to take a photo of this screen, you are more than welcome to. As it will have all of the dimensions for every single piece of item, every piece of furniture that is in your space. So there are double rooms and there are large private rooms. Every bed in Watson and Kennedy are these XL twin beds. So those are 80 inches long. They do sometimes require special sheets. So I would double check. I would recommend double checking that you do have twin XL sheets before coming to campus. You can see all of our internet types, everything in here. There are some kitchen appliances. There's a community laundry room that you have access to. One of our safety features here is panic button. So there is a panic button in every single room on our campus. So if you were to push that panic button, University Police will be routed right to your room within just a few minutes. So that is a great resource for you. You have access to a clubhouse space. You also have access to a computer lab, and there is all of this other information for you as well. If you want to scan this QR code down here, it'll actually bring you to a page that will show you more of the layout of Watson. So let me share that with you all as well. So if you haven't taken a look at this page yet, that QR code would bring you there, and I can show you that again in just a second. If you wanted to see a floor plan, that'll be right here. So you'll see all of the dimensions of your space. This is a standard double room. And then if you wanted to view, like, if you wanted to have the ability to look around the room, you can literally click and drag to see what a standard layout would look like. So this is a space in Watson, and they have these built-in furniture pieces. So you can see that here as well. Again, it's a communal bathroom style. So what that means for Watson Hall is residents don't have a bathroom in their space directly. They'll go into the hallway and they'll utilize a shared bathroom there. Is there anything you wanted to add, Bonnie? Okay. Sorry, y'all, we're flipping between some screens. So again, if you wanted to be able to look at that, you can scan this QR code on the screen and that should bring you to Watson. Give y'all a second if you want to scan it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What does the game room look like?
The game room in Watson?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is part of our clubhouse. I'm not sure if we have a photo of it on here. If we don't, it's a large open area that's a multi-purpose room, and within that there's pool tables, and there's lots of communal space. There's a large TV in there, so you can do a lot of different things in that area. Bonnie, do you have any more specifics about that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so there is a pool table, there is a table tennis table, and then, like Caitlin said, there's a large TV that you're allowed to use. There is already an Xbox, I don't know which version, but it is pretty recent, that's already connected to that TV. And then I'm trying to think, it's true that, like Caitlin said, a lot of it is open space with like couches and just you're able to lounge around there. It's a great place to study. It's also a great place to just hang out. I think a lot of the RAs were really looking forward to doing that with students this year. Do you have questions? Sorry, I was just going to ask if you had any specific questions, Henry.
Were you asking me something?
I was wondering if you had any specific questions.
Oh, no, that was just it.
Cool.
There's some in the chat.
There's questions in the chat?
Yeah, our first question, Caitlin, in the chat is just about OMI.
Yes.
Move-in day confirming it's August 5th, but I thought students also had scheduled times that they were to come.
Yes, so students should be able, students should be able to select a specific time slot. I can cover that in just a second, but you will have to pick a time slot and that will enable you to come and check in and everything. I believe you should have gotten that information sent to you directly in your student email. I can verify all of the directions for time slots. I believe I have an email about that as well. So I can look in there for you toward the end of our presentation, but our move-in does begin early. Some of our Geektopia students will be moving in even earlier in the week as well. But you do have to select that time slot just so that we know when you're coming and we're prepared for you with your key and everything. But we will dive into OMI a little more toward the end of the presentation.
And one more question in this time, Caitlin.
Yeah.
A request, when is the next time to request room changes? Is this something we can cover later, or?
Honestly, what I would recommend is I would recommend reaching out to our housing email. So if you want to drop that in the chat, Bonnie, that's what I would reach out to for right now, because we won't do a whole lot personally with room changes at this point. So I would inquire with housing's regular email. Any other questions?
If we can find a link for the time slot, I'll look into that while you're presenting.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. So we can move on to Kennedy for right now. So I do have some pictures for y'all. For those of you who are moving into Kennedy, there's new 360 videos on the website, which I'll show you in just a minute. This QR code will actually scan to get you there as well. But there are also photos of furniture that I just got today to share with y'all. So again, with Kennedy, we have traditional suites, and we actually have a thing called super suites. So super suites have a kitchenette in them. The way that you determine which side of the building you live on, if your suites are super suites, is by the first number of your room number. So if you look at your room assignment and the first number is a 1, you're going to be in our regular suites. If you look at your room assignment and the first number is a 2, you're going to be in our super suites, which have that kitchenette. So some important information to know about here. You will have a mini fridge, at least in your, if you're in the normal suites, you will have a mini fridge. If you're in our super suites with the kitchenette, you do have a larger refrigerator. Our rooms with kitchenettes also have access to a microwave. Our rooms that do not have kitchenettes do not have a microwave in there. However, you can bring one with you to campus, and we'll go more into the logistics there in just a second. Again, if you want to scan this QR code, this will bring you to our Live in Kennedy Hall page. There are 5 different layouts for our community, so I won't be able to go over all of them right now. But if you know, if you're in a connected suite, which means that there would be you and your roommate share a bathroom with 2 other individuals on the other side in a different room. So that would be a connected suite. If you're in an unconnected suite, that would mean that it's just your room, possibly a roommate, and a bathroom connected just to you. So you don't share that with anybody else. If you're in a super suite, that means that there would be bedrooms, a living room, and a kitchenette area, and bathrooms as well. So again, you can scan this QR code to get there, and I'll show you in just a second. If you were to scan that QR code, it would bring you right here to our floor plan. So these are the new videos that I'm talking about. A lot of our students will live in these connected suites. So what this will show you is you have your door that you'd come in, you have this sink area. If you go to the left over here, you're going to see a bathroom, which I'll take you through in just a minute. And then this is the bedroom space. So this kind of distorts it a little bit. So just be mindful of that, just because of the angles and everything when you're spinning it. But that is the space. You would have your mini fridge right here. And then you would go into the bathroom space. So these are our standard bathrooms in a connected suite. And again, you would come on over here to the other side where you'd have 2 more people on this end in this bedroom and this little sink area. I will show you what that looks like with the furniture in just a second as well. And then if you were to look at our super suite, so you can see these layouts like this. So again, you'd walk in, you'd have a living room area in a super suite, and your bedrooms would be at the side with bathrooms. So they are very much like the same kind of concept when it comes to room sizes and what your bathroom looks like. They are very similar, just not shared. I don't know if it'll take me, there we go. You can see that shower and everything else over here. The biggest difference is going to be your kitchenette and living area. So this is a kitchenette for a super suite. So you've got some of this storage. Again, we'll go over appliances that are allowed in that space. You've got this large refrigerator, and then you have this living area out here. So you've got that space as well. I will go ahead and I'll show you some furniture photos. I know we've got some questions popping up, so I will show you those in just a second too. Where did my photos go? There we go. So this is exciting because I know there weren't any photos of Kennedy furniture. Everything in Kennedy is brand new right now. So we just got these couches delivered to our super suite. So if you're in a super suite, this will be in your living room. This is a small entertainment system. You can put a TV there. Consoles can fit in here. So that is an option for y'all too. These are some chairs that go at the countertop. So here's another angle for you. And this is the kitchen area with that kitchenette again. They do have a microwave in our super suites area again, and that full size refrigerator. And then this is what our furniture setup looks like. So these are called junior loft beds. So you are going to be lofted in the air when you first get there. So you can get situated. This acts as a ladder for you to climb on up if you'd like. Again, these are twin XLs, so please be mindful of that and make sure you have the right size sheets. It'll help. You've got this desk area with this drawer. And you've also got these dressers right here. In addition to that, this is another setup. You'll have a wardrobe for each person. So each wardrobe does have 2 drawers in them. And they do open up where there is an area with a hanging bar. So you can hang up clothes on hangers and whatnot. And again, this would connect back to your bathroom area. This is another version of the super suites. So you can see that living space again. And just some photos of our new furniture layouts. Like I said, everything is brand new. It recently got moved into our hall. So you will be sleeping on brand new beds, brand new furniture, brand new flooring, everything. I will stop sharing now. Bonnie, do we have some questions?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where is the panic button?
Where's the panic button?
Yeah.
So panic buttons will be mounted on the wall. So I know that you can't really see it in those rooms right there, but there are panic buttons that will be mounted into the wall. So you'll literally push it. I have one in here. I don't know if I can swing my laptop to show you it though. But they're usually like a circle or they're a big like plastic button that once you push that, again, it will alert university police that you need assistance and they will come to your space. All right, so yes, you can bring, I saw the question about microwaves. Yes, you can bring them. I'll tell you the wattage in just a minute. What are some other questions?
I just wanted to double check in with our listeners. I believe it was Kaman, if I'm not saying your name correctly, I apologize, who had some wonderful advice to put in the chat for the links. So if you would go ahead and look for that chat. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the housing email that's also in the chat.
Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you, come on. But wondering about TV sizes, I wasn't sure about that one, so I'm passing it along to you, Caitlin.
Yes, I am not super sure about that, but you're asking about for Kennedy specifically for the entertainment system. Is that what you're asking about?
What is like the largest TV size that a student could bring? My thought is
yeah,
that rooms are limited in space, so definitely communicate with your roommate.
right.
But besides that, I don't know if there's like a specific inch or length that's allowed or not.
I don't think there's like, I don't think we set a standard for how big your devices can be realistically. I don't think we have a standard for that. If you're talking more in terms of like entertainment system size and like what that would fit, I would have to look into that and get that measured for you, but I will be over there this weekend, so I could probably do that. But yes, I don't have that measurement off the top of my head, unfortunately, because like I said, it did just get delivered this week, so I haven't been able to measure it, but I can try to get an answer for that question. You will get some newsletters from us before move-in, so if you look for that, I think you're getting it around the 2nd of August. If you look for that, you'll be able to get some more of that information. And you can also email me if you'd like, and I can share that again at the end to make sure you have that contact info.
Awesome. Another question was how high a bed can be raised. I know that the Kennedy beds, from what I've heard, are already pretty high at the moment.
Yes, our Kennedy beds are almost to the very top of rung that they can go on. I think they can probably go up a couple more inches, but they are honestly almost at the very tippy top of that frame. So the reason they're at the height they are now is because if you move that, the spring base, which is that black piece of metal that your bed rests on, if you were to move that up all the way, your bed will not be, like it'll just be resting on top. So as right now, it's kind of like resting against that frame too. So you could move it higher if you wanted to, but realistically, this is the standard that we've tried to place just for safety.
Yeah, is it possible to move them lower than somebody was asking?
So it is possible to move them lower. The reason that we bought loft kits in this facility specifically is because of space. So with your bed being lofted, it will maximize space. However, you can unloft it and you can make it lower to the ground. If you do that, you're going to have to move that furniture out from underneath, most likely. So that may be something you may want to just figure out once you're in that space. As soon as you get there, the beds will be lofted. So just take a look around, figure out where can you put those items if that's something you really want to do. It is a possibility though.
Awesome. And then I'll answer for Watson. If anyone is going to live in Watson this year, our beds are a little older, so they are really hard to raise or lower, and we don't allow bed raisers. If you want your bed height changed, we can make that happen with a maintenance request. We don't want you hurting yourself trying to change an old bed height. So please let your RA know when you get here if you want that change. And then Skyla, I just wanted to check in with you. You were asking about the kitchenette just as Caitlin was going through some of that kitchenette in Kennedy. If you can give me a thumbs up either in camera or like in the reactions, if you got your answer. If you didn't, could you put it in the chat? Other than that, we're working through the questions.
Okay. I see Alexis asked about the sink area and connected suites. So I believe the photos that I have are the finished product. So we are very close to move-in. So most of our rooms are completely done at this point. So I do not believe that you're going to have like a cabinet door on that or anything. I don't have the measurements right now, but I can try to get those measurements again for the height from the floor to the top of the cabinet, if that's something you're interested in. Again, for that, can you shoot me an email? I wrote it down, but I just want to make sure that you get that information directly.
Are you allowed to have a microwave in Kennedy Hall?
Yes.
Wonderful.
If you are in the super suites, it's already there. If you are not in the super suites, I will go over the wattage for what you're allowed to have in just a moment, but you are able to bring one. And I would coordinate that with your roommate because I believe you can only have one per room still.
Yeah. Is there a storage room in the non-traditional suite at Kennedy?
Like a separate storage room for like personal belongings?
This is a question from, the name looks like Tear. Then yes, that what you just said is his question, their question.
Okay, so unfortunately, the only space that you're going to have is what's in your physical bedroom space. There's a little bit of a walk-in space where you may be able to put like a small shelf or something that's closer to that sink area when you come into the room. But mostly like the only space that you have would be like what's actually in your room. So some things like what I would recommend doing is coming to the facility first, looking at the space that you have and determining from there what you may need like to purchase if you're thinking of purchasing additional storage and whatnot, just to make sure that everything fits the way that you want it to. So I would recommend trying to do that. I know that sometimes that can be difficult to do because I know our Walmart gets a little crazy around move-in, but that may be just something that makes sure that your things do fit exactly how you want them to in your space. I would also try and coordinate with your roommate too, just because as you add more furniture to your space, you're taking away some room. So just to communicate that with your roommate.
Awesome, thank you. We have a few more questions coming in slowly. Is there another section that you need to present on?
I'm going to go over, yep. I'm going to go over more of what you can bring approved appliances and whatnot. So let me dive into that for y'all. And then we can come back to these. We will answer your questions though. All right. So approved items. So here you can see all of the items that are pre-approved for every residence hall on campus. So you can see like the clothing steamer or an iron. These have to have an automatic shut off switch. So that means if you were to accidentally leave it plugged in, it should shut itself off. That is, again, another safety feature that we ask for in all of our appliances. So please pay attention to those. Same thing with a coffee pot. So you can bring a coffee pot with an automatic shutoff switch. I believe Keurigs do fall into that. So just make sure that there's that automatic shutoff. Holiday decorations. So only 2 strands of lights can be strung together, and they have to be branded with UL approved. So typically, if you look at an outlet plug, there's usually a little tag that hangs off of it. If it's got that UL standard on it, I believe it's a UL with a circle around it, that would indicate that it's UL approved. Basically, that's a standard that is set for appliances and electricity to make sure that it is considered safe. They are not allowed on porches or balconies, which doesn't really apply to y'all. But if it did, that's a thing. You can have a toaster. So this is important. You can have a standard toaster, but our spaces do not accommodate toaster ovens. So you can only have a standard toaster, no toaster oven. Additionally, you can have a power strip or a surge protector. So you should have that surge protector built in. No extension cords are allowed. They have to have a surge protector built in. Again, that is because there's a cutoff in there. So if there is an electrical surge or something, it's a safety feature that is built in. So you can have 1 per resident per bedroom. So 1 per resident or bedroom and 1 per living room. So if you live in our super suites, you can have 1 in your living room and you can have 1 in your bedroom. So you can have a little more in that space than a standard suite. So again, those must be labeled with that UL approved. They are not allowed in your kitchens or your bathrooms. So just make sure of that. The last piece on here that is pre-approved, again, for all halls, is window treatment. So thinking about curtains. If you are looking for curtains, they have to be labeled as flame retardant. So if you're looking for curtains on Amazon, you're looking for them in Walmart or wherever, make sure that they are fire and flame retardant. And that should be on every label. Whether, like, if it is, it will be printed on the label. So just make sure that you're looking for that. So these, again, are our approved items. I'll give you a second if you want to take a photo of it, just so that you know what you can bring. All of this information you're receiving right now about approved items and whatnot can be found in our community guides. We are working on updating our current community guide so that it'll be useful for this upcoming year. However, for the time being, you could reference the previous year's one, as it still is like what we're going off of right now. So non-approved items, so major appliances cannot be brought into our facilities: washers, dryers, freezers, refrigerators, micro fridges, dishwashers, and air conditioners that are not already provided by university housing. So if those items were in your space because we put them there, then you'd be able to have them. If you're trying to bring them in yourself, you cannot have them. So I know sometimes students have been finding like portable washing machines, still not allowed to be in your space. Our buildings are just not built to handle that capacity for every single resident. So that is why we have this standard. So it has to be placed there by university housing for it to be permitted. Plumbing, water heating, and electrical systems, again, were not designed to accommodate such high utility demands resulting from those. All approved appliances without the UL certification will not be permitted, and it is the responsibility of the student to remove them from the space. So I really do want to, again, make sure that you're paying attention to what's approved versus what's not approved. If you're bringing an item in on move-in day that's not approved, I'm going to encourage our staff, if they see it, to talk to you about it. That way it's easier for you to remove it from the facilities before getting it set up and whatnot, and just getting situated in your space. So please, again, pay attention to these so we can make sure that you're compliant with our policies and that all of our residents are safe. So these are items that are not approved. So this list is everything that is not approved for any residence hall. So you can see that there's a lot on here. Again, this is because of safety concerns and whatnot, and because our buildings cannot like handle the same capacity as larger apartment complexes and whatnot. So again, you can't bring in your own individual air conditioning unit. You do have air conditioning in your space, so that shouldn't be a big issue. Air fryers are not permitted. Bed risers, so anything that would add additional height to your bed. Usually they're made of plastic or something. You can't bring those. Candles are not permitted. It's a fire hazard. Candle wax burners and warmers are also not permitted. You can't have charcoal in your room or gas or lighter fluid, anything like that. No open flame grills. There's a whole list, y'all. I won't go through every single thing with you, but there's a lot of things that or students like to try and bring in like a hot plate or something, unfortunately, they are not permitted. So just be sure to, again, pay attention to this. I recommend, again, that you do try and take a screenshot of this just so that you can see what is and is not allowed. Another thing here is street signs, traffic signs, construction materials, and the like. This is a big one, so just make sure that you're paying attention to that. And then the question you've been waiting for. So rooms in Watson and the Kennedy Hall standard suites are not permitted. They do not have microwaves provided, but you can bring one. You can see the wattage here, so they cannot exceed 840 watts of power, but you may bring one per room if you do not have one already. If you are in the Kennedy Super Suites, which have that kitchenette, you cannot bring another microwave because you already have one there. For Kennedy, how you tell if you're in a regular suite versus a super suite is by the first number. So if the first number of your room is a 1, you're going to be in our regular suite. So you will follow the Watson Hall regulation with bringing a microwave if you choose to do so and whatnot. If the first number of your room is a 2, that means you're in a super suite, which means you already have a microwave, so you can't bring another one. And again, all those appliances are brand new, so they shouldn't have any issues with them either. All right. So room decoration policies. These are just our standard policies that we do enforce. Again, they are with your safety in mind. So failure to keep posters or decorations at least 12 inches from the ceiling or floor, or covering more than 50% of a wall is against our policy. So if you're going to put posters up, make sure you are at least a foot off the ground and a foot from the ceiling. In addition to that, don't cover more than 50% of your wall. You cannot suspend any items from your ceiling. So some students have used parachutes, fishnets, stripper poles are on here, holiday lights, flags. I've seen the little paratroopers with the little parachutes on them. You cannot hang those from the ceiling, nothing like that. Possession or displaying of any alcohol paraphernalia is prohibited as well. So this includes any funnels you may have, beer bongs, shot dispensers, any other methods of alcohol delivery you cannot have in your space. Affixing any item to a wall in a manner that may create damage to a surface. So don't screw anything into your walls, don't nail anything into your walls. That is against our policies as well, as it will cause damage to our spaces and can result in some billing on the back end if there is damage. Don't display any item facing outward toward public spaces in windows or on porches, balconies. So thinking about flags, banners, posters, and whatnot. You cannot have anything in your window that faces outside. So just being mindful of that. Curtains and window treatments that do not possess fire retardant labels from the manufacturer. So again, going back to, you can have these things, you can have curtains as long as they are fire retardant. If they are not, then you cannot bring them into our halls. Failure to use low tack tape, so thinking about blue painter's tape, or low tack hanging devices like 3M Command products when hanging decorations. That could be a potential issue if you do not use those items, as other items can cause damage, again, if you do nails or screws or something like that. So try to use those low tack items. And you cannot fix any item to a fire rated door. So you can't do large decorating or posting on your apartment door or unit. You will see some door decks on your door from RAs, but they have to fit a certain size in order to be permitted on that door. So they will follow that policy, and we do expect that you do the same. For safety, this is just some general information. So we do have staff that serve on call every single night for our complexes. So if there's an emergency that arises or you're locked out of your room or something, you will have access to a RA on duty number, and you can contact them for assistance if you're having a roommate conflict, if you have a question about something, or if you just need help in your room or need to report a maintenance concern. They are a resource to you. Additionally, University Police is accessible. Their phone number can be found in several different places. We'll have it in flyers throughout our lobbies and our halls. I believe it may also be on the back of your student ID, but I could be wrong about that. But they are accessible and they're a resource to you. Interior hall buildings, which Kennedy and Watson are both interior. That means that you enter a building and then go to your door, not that you walk right up to your door and enter your space. So because of that, all of those doors are accessed through card swipes. So when you get your Eagle ID, you want to make sure that you hold on to that. When you come here for move-in day, you want to make sure you have your Eagle ID. So if you do not have it when you get here, I would recommend going right over to card services to make sure that you get that. That is used to access our building. In Kennedy, you have to swipe into our clubhouse and then go through the clubhouse to get to your room. In Watson, you swipe into the building and it goes right to your room. So you do need that. Each of your cards will be programmed like specifically for your hall and the access that you need. Exterior building units, which do not apply to us, would have a deadbolt on them. So you don't have a deadbolt on your door because you're interior. And every unit in the building has a panic button like we talked about. So you can press it anytime for an emergency and the university police will be routed right to your space. This is another great tool that we do advertise. It works with our university police as well. So this is the LiveSafe app. If you do not have it, I highly recommend downloading it. There's so many cool features on here. So you can download it for free from Google Play or the Apple Store. I also have it on my phone. So you can register with your mobile phone number and verify your account. Then you would select Georgia Southern. So you have multiple options on here. It will include also lots of downloadable information. So it'll show you our COVID policies and procedures, and I'll give you more important emergency information. There's this button that you can see on our screen that says report tips. So what the report tips button would do is it enables you to actually anonymously report things to the university police through like text messaging essentially. So if you see something or you know something that you feel like you want to report, you can go ahead and there's several different topics in there. So you would select tips and click the one that you want to report, type in your information that you want to share and send it on over to UPD. A dispatcher will then message you back. And they may ask you if you would like to meet with an officer. If you choose not to, that's okay. And again, you can choose to anonymously report or you can choose to report with your name and information shown. Emergency options would be the ability to call different individuals with contact information. A safety map is on here and safety escorts. So you do have the ability to request an escort if you're walking across campus late at night. You can request that university police or a security individual walks you to your location. You can also do something called a safe walk. So what that is you can essentially send your location to a family member, a friend. You can let university police dispatch actually track you if you want. If you want them to see you walk back to wherever you're going, you put in your destination and it basically determines, okay, it should take you 10 minutes to get there. And they'll check in with you. You indicate that you've arrived. And once you do that, they'll be like, okay, great, have a good night. If you are having issues or anything, you can actually get immediate help from them from the app. So that's a great thing. That's a safety feature for us on campus. And it's a great tool for you as well. So I definitely recommend downloading that. All right, before we get into Operation Move In, do we have other questions we want to answer real quick?
Yes, really briefly. I thought this might be a good one to talk about instead of write about, but are masks required this year?
So currently, the University System of Georgia, which dictates most of the policies that go on our campus, have stated that masks are not required. So we are essentially transitioning back to all of our policies and procedures pre-COVID. So what that means is if you want to wear a mask, you absolutely can. I even have masks in my office and whatnot. So that is within your rights. However, you are not required to anywhere on campus or anything like that. So that is just some information for you. We're going back to opening all of our community spaces. So those game rooms will be open. Guests will be permitted in our halls again. So it's going back to more of a normal situation, pre-COVID essentially. So masks are not required.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. And then we had somebody wondering if this PowerPoint would be available to the students to view at a later time.
I'm not sure if the PowerPoint specifically will be. However, this is being recorded and it will be updated and uploaded onto our OMI website. So you can always go back through and look at it. I can ask if we can possibly upload these. I can definitely ask that question. But you will be able to rewatch.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
There were a few just like items again I wanted to check in with you about before giving an answer. So oil diffusers separate from candles and all of that, or?
I will have to look into that one specifically.
Okay, glad I'm
Do
not
you remember
alone.
off the top of your head?
I don't.
Okay.
I tried to pull up the code of conduct and I'm not at my work computer right now, so it's a little difficult. We will get an answer. Yeah.
Yes. And like I said, that new community guide should be coming out soon, which will further detail everything.
Beautiful. Can you explain the difference between a connected, oh, well, I can do that, never mind. I'll type that one up for you, whoever is on your iPhone. Yeah, I think we're good. If you want to move on, I think I can
Awesome.
keep answering these questions.
Yeah, we'll be moving on to OMI. So what Operation Move-In looks like. I know somebody had shared our time slot process earlier, so you can see that there. So Operation Move-In begins technically on August 6th through 7th. There are some early arrivals, and those individuals will be moving in earlier. You can see who those folks are on here. I believe this QR code should bring you to our OMI website where you can see additional information about Operation Move-In. However, again, time slots need to be selected for move-in times. They have already been released. I think they came out Monday. So definitely check your emails. And I know there was information in our chat, so you can double check that as well. So let's look at some things. So these were a little grainier than I wanted them to be. But Watson Hall, so this would be the Watson Hall area you'd be living in. That clubhouse space is over here and your laundry space is over here, but they are literally maybe a minute of a walk between. But this is our space where our students live. This entire lot right here is all student parking. So that could be, if you're bringing a car to campus, make sure that you try to get a pass for C lot. So that would enable you to park in this lot. Over here is where our other halls are, Centennial Place, which has 4 buildings. So there's a lot of students over there. They have about 1,000 beds. So a lot of their students will park in this lot too, which is shared with Watson and Centennial. When it comes to move-in day, you're going to see this part that I made yellow, which is right in front of all of the Watson areas. This is going to be utilized for unloading zones. So some general information and reminders here is you have to go to Paulson Stadium before coming to Watson on move-in day. If you come to Watson first, we won't have a key for you. So we do want to make sure that you are in the right place. So go get your key from the stadium first, and then you'll come right back to us to move on into Watson. When you're in these unloading zones, you'll only have about 15 minutes to 30 minutes to really unload and get yourself into the building. So we will have volunteers here. They will have move-in bins, which they can roll on out to your car, fill those move-in bins up, and you bring them right into your room. They will move as quickly as possible to make sure that all of your items are situated. So the biggest tip here is once you get there, like once you get into Watson and Park, make sure you are ready to get moving. So you'll be taking all of your items in. What I recommend doing is bring that bin in, unload the bin like into one area in your space, and then go unload the rest of your vehicle before starting to fully unpack in your space. Once your vehicle is unloaded, you'll be moving it further back in the lot. So in this vicinity, you'll be moving to about row 3 or 4 at least. And the reason for that is so that other folks who are moving in are able to do so with ease. And then this is Kennedy Hall. So this is our clubhouse area over here where Kennedy has our multi-purpose room, our game room, and the office areas. So when you are in Kennedy Hall, this is not the most accurate depiction of our parking lot. It has changed a little. It's been recently paved and everything. So most of this lot will be open though. When you come here, again, you have to go to the Paulson Stadium first before coming to Kennedy. We will not have any keys on site at Kennedy between the 2nd and the 7th of August. So you will have to get those from Paulson before coming to us. Once you get here, you will essentially come in and we'll have lots of signage so you don't have to memorize this. But you'll enter our parking lot, you'll loop around and you'll go to this unloading zone, which is right in here. Same thing will happen here. Volunteers will swarm your vehicle with those move-in bins. You will quickly unload your items. Again, 15 to 30 minutes of unloading, getting them into your space. And then once you're done here, you will have to leave our parking lot and move on over to this parking lot, which is literally, again, maybe a 1 to 2 minute walk to our building entrance. But there's a lot of parking over here and there's not a lot in our Kennedy lot, which will be used for unloading. So again, we're having you move to accommodate other folks who are trying to move in as well. So volunteers will be here to help you and will move you in as quickly as possible. If you're looking at the overview of Kennedy, so our regular suites are over on this side of our building. You still have to enter through the front. So you'll go to the front and into our courtyard, and then you'll make a right to access this area. Our super suites are over here. So those are the ones with the kitchenette. So you'll come out of our clubhouse into that courtyard area and make a left to move toward there. And we will have lots of signage. So again, no need to really stress about it or memorize. memorize it. Do we have any questions regarding this or anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is appropriate to ask, but can we bring taxidermy?
That's a great question. I'm not 100% certain that we have a policy against it, but I'd have to look. If you want to go ahead and send me like a private message, Henry, if you can do that over here with your student email, I can ask that question and I can get back to you. Any other questions, y'all? And we can direct you to our elevators on move-in day. Watson's is right when you walk in. Kennedy's are, you have to walk into your actual building that your room is in order to access those. So we will have signage for that. And please bring vacuums if you want. Cleaning supplies are always welcome. I know in Kennedy you have vinyl floors, and in Watson they have tile floor, right, Bonnie?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have like even a Swiffer or something like that, like a Swiffer wet jet or something, that could be great for cleaning as well.
That's a good idea. We have a few questions that might be good to discuss. So parking passes, you can find those online, I believe, at your My Georgia Southern account. If you just search for parking pass in the search bar, it'll lead you to the right area. But there's also a map that you're going to have to look at to find the parking lot, either for Watson, which I believe is lot C, and Kennedy, which is lot K.
We can accommodate CEJ passes. I think our technical lot is E, but let me double check. You may have to look at a parking map.
Yeah, so make sure to find the parking map while it should come up alongside the parking pass, but make sure you're getting the correct lot for Kennedy or Watson, because you don't want to buy a parking pass for a lot that's halfway across campus. And then for move-in day, do students have a limited time to move in? Yes, we are asking that you park, like Caitlin was saying, in the designated spot that's 15-minute unloading zone, and you're gonna have a team of RAs that come out and say hi and get you super excited to move in, grab your items, help you get to your room, help you move your items into your room. And then we're gonna ask, like Caitlin said, that you move your car to a different location where you can park it. And if you need to then settle your room in and make it feel comfortable, you can do that. What can you explain room numbers for, like, how you know if you're on a certain floor, that kind of stuff, Caitlin?
Yeah. So when it comes to Kennedy, anything that starts with a 1. So if the first number, it's a 4-digit room. But if your first number is a 1, that indicates you're in building 1, which is our regular suites. So that would be the ones that don't have a kitchenette. The second number indicates the floor that you're on. So if it's 1-1, then you are in building 1 on the first floor. So our normal suites on the first floor. If you are on the lower end of that, so I know one of our RAs, for example, is in room 1106. If you are 1106, you're going to be closer to the front of our building. The further back you go, so like 1142 is another room number, you'd be first building, so regular suites, first floor, and then you'd be in the back corner of it. For our other side, if you're building, like if your room number in Kennedy starts with a 2, that means you're in our super suites. If it's like 22, that means you're super suite second floor. And then whatever the other number is would be in correspondence with the number on the floor. And then the letters next to your room number would indicate what room you're in, what bedroom space you're in those super suites. So that information would all be, it's going to be on some signage that's going to direct you to the right side of the building. So you won't be going to the wrong part of our building to find your room. So that is how Kennedy's works. Bonnie, did you want to share Watson's?
Yeah, I feel like Watson's is pretty straightforward. When you enter our front door, the first number in your room, if it's a 1, you're going to be on the first floor. If it's a 2, you're going to be on the second floor. If it's a 3, you're going to be on the third floor. So for example, room 2208, for example, it's going to be on the second floor. Then to break it down just one more step besides floors, if your second number in your room is a 1, you're going to go to the right. If it's a 2, you're going to go to your left. And I have signs set up for you guys. So it says, okay, 110 rooms this way, 120 rooms that way. And it should direct you guys to the right area. Then you're just looking for your room number. It might be 12, it might be 18. But feel free to ask REs for directions. They're usually wearing a shirt that has a housing logo on it. If you see any of us, feel free to say hi and ask for directions. But besides that, Watson is pretty straightforward. You've got 3 floors and 2 sides to your building. That's it.
With early move-in, I saw that was the next one, I think. With early move-in, Bonnie, I believe they are still going to the stadium. Do you recall that?
I think you're right on that, yeah.
Okay. And that should also be in any information that you receive from housing in regards to your move-in process. It should also be in there to directing you where to go. But I do believe you are going to go to Paulson for that still. It's literally going to be a drive-through. So you essentially will check in and they'll hand you a key. It will be to your room. So they're going to verify your information first to make sure you get the right one. So it's a pretty simple process and they'll send you on your way. I can see, not related, but how close/far is Kennedy from campus? Realistically, Kennedy is maybe, I'd say maybe a 7-minute walk to Watson, which is kind of like, to me, like the edge of like the academic side of campus. However, right across the street from us, like it may take you maybe a minute to get there from one of the exits of our building. We have a bus stop. So the way that our bus stop works is if you hop on the bus there, it'll bring you to the Russell Union. So that'll be right by our dining facility too, and Tech Corner and the bookstore and all of that. It'll bring you down by the counseling center. So that will be directly across from Watson. So that will bring you closer to like some of the engineering and IT buildings. It'll also bring you a little further down to the engineering building, and then it'll loop back up to Cambridge, which is off-campus housing, and back to Kennedy. So they're fairly quick routes as well, and they're pretty accessible. So if you ever don't want to walk to campus, you can definitely hop on a bus. I think the most it'll probably take you to walk to a classroom on campus is probably 15, 20 minutes at the absolute most from Kennedy. It's not super far.
A certain number of family members, is there a cap or a limit on who can be with you?
I don't believe there is. However, I do caution you, there's going to be a lot of folks on move-in day. So definitely bring the folks that you need. But there's also other times when family can come to campus and check out your space and whatnot. So I would just definitely be mindful of that. We will have some students who will pull up with 3 carloads of people and their belongings and whatnot. So that's great. We love seeing families on campus. The only thing is that sometimes it makes it difficult when you're moving into your space and your roommate's also coming. Now there's you, your family, like multiple people, and then your roommate and their family. So just being mindful of how many folks you bring. Most of the time we do tend to see parents and usually some siblings we'll see as well. Some individuals bring grandparents and whatnot, but definitely just be mindful of how big your spaces are and making sure that it's an easy process for everybody moving into that space. And then I see once we get unloaded and get to our room, is there a limited time that we have to get everything done? No. So once you are unloaded, the biggest time crunch you have is realistically unloading and moving your vehicle to park it. Beyond that, you can spend all the time you need in your space setting it up and whatnot. Like that is your space at that point. So the biggest time crunch is, again, just making sure that you unload in the appropriate amount of time and transition yourselves to that more permanent parking area. And the bus is totally free to y'all. It is a Georgia Southern bus. So we recommend bringing your Georgia Southern Eco ID with you. Most of the time I haven't been stopped by like buses to like check my ID, but I would definitely bring it with you just in case they do check those.
Awesome. I just wanted to mention the pet policy really quickly. Our pet policy is no pets on campus unless, well, let me clarify. Fish.
Yes.
Fish are allowed, but anything that could maybe get out of a container, say like crabs, things like that, no.
If it has
Um,
legs, essentially,
yeah.
for the most part.
Right. So kittens, dogs, snakes, like hamsters, those are not allowed unless they are specifically an ESA or, oh gosh, I'm
Service
blanking out.
animal.
Thank you.
Service animal. Yep.
A service animal, an emotional support animal, and that you have to go through a registration process for that. So if you have further questions about that, you can reach out to housing for how to get that process rolling. But besides that, please do not bring your friendly furry babies over here. We can't house them safely and house your roommate safely.
And the same thing goes for like, even when families come to visit and whatnot, a lot of students like to bring their animals because I know it's hard when you move away from home and you don't get to see your dog all the time. However, they are still not permitted in our halls. So if your family likes to bring your animal to campus, they can do so. You can walk them outside, but they cannot come into our facilities. So for Kennedy, that even includes our courtyard because you have to walk through a building to get there. So your animals are not permitted in our halls in any way unless they are, again, an emotional support animal or a service animal. There is a community kitchen in Kennedy. You will have swipe access to that. I believe it is on the side of the building that has our super suites. So if you're living on our suite side, you will still get access to it. So you will have swipe access to that side of the building so you can use that community kitchen. There is only one for our whole building. So that's the only thing there. That is completely updated as well, I believe. Everything has been completely redone. So I have not been able to see that space yet, but I do know that it exists. So you will have access to that. And I see your Eagle ID. We have a card center on campus that you can either physically go to on move-in. They will even be open for some hours on Saturday of move-in to make sure that you can get your IDs. But beyond that, I know you can also request that one be sent to you. I know Brandon got his Eagle ID emailed to him. So there's a way to do that as well online. You may just want to look at, you can probably Google Eagle ID Georgia Southern and it should give you information on how to request.
For getting it mailed to you, it would be easier if you would just call the card center and they'll take down the information with you. That's what I did, so.
Good tip.
Jonas, can you explain your question for me?
Yeah. So for when I click on the housing portal,
Yeah.
And there's like several slots, several options for slots, like on Monday, August 2nd, Wednesday, August 4th. Like, it's under a move-in date overview. They look like times that I can pick to. I don't know if it's to move in, because for the RAs, it would, I thought those days were on the 24th and the 25th.
Yep. So RAs will already be here the 24th and 25th. I'm wondering if it just opened up those slots for you. But essentially the only folks who should be able to sign up in those specific time slots should be those who are approved for early arrival, which they will filter. Yep. But RAs will be here the 24th, 25th. You don't have to pick a time slot through there, Jonas, as an RA. You'll just let us know when you're coming.
Okay.
Yeah. Laundry rooms, are they one per building like the community kitchens in Kennedy? So there is one laundry room per building in Kennedy and Watson. They both have their own like individual laundry room. There are a lot of washers and dryers in there. Like there's ample space for the amount of students that we have. Sometimes you just have to be mindful of when you do your laundry. So I would recommend not doing your laundry in like on a Sunday. A lot of people do their laundry on Sundays and not picking like those busy times. Honestly, if you are an early riser, that's a great time to do laundry. A lot of students do not like to get up early. So if you're going to do your laundry, sometimes early in the morning is great. And honestly, a lot of it's going to come with getting to know your community trends too. So you may have to adjust a few times. And I know that that can sometimes be frustrating at first, but we will do everything possible to make that laundry space like useful for everybody in our community. So just being mindful. We'll also share in our community meetings how to use like some etiquette when it comes to using the laundry room, just so that like people are not leaving their laundry in their machines overnight or anything like that. So we can go through those pieces as well. Cornelia, which RLC are you in? Are you in Geektopia? Yes, okay. So that should be the right date, I believe, for you. The second is going to be more of our Panhellenic and our Southern Pride Marching Band. And then we basically wrote like, we have students coming in almost every day from the 2nd through the 8th. So the 4th should be right for Geektopia, I believe.
Jonas, since you are an RA in Watson, I would be your direct supervisor, but Caitlin is both of our supervisors.
Henry, I saw your direct message. I'm gonna have to seek some more clarification on that. If you could send me your email, I'd appreciate that. And then I can get back to you specifically. Any other questions, y'all? All right. I know we briefly looked at those Kennedy pictures for those of you who are moving over there, so you could see that furniture. They should, I believe, be going up on our website and our social media pretty soon. We have brand new furniture in our lounges too, which you should be able to see as well. And then, yeah, if you have any further questions, you can direct them to housing@georgiasouthern.edu. Vonnie, Brandon, and I are in the midst of training, so it's a little difficult for us to always answer all of your questions, but if you do have specific ones, you can feel free to email me as well. For those of you requesting measurements of, I know Alexis, you wanted to know measurements below the sink in the Kennedy suites and things like that. If you're requesting that information, again, just go ahead and try and send me an email. I will share my email again with that specific question, just so I can try and figure that out for you. But that is my email if you need it. If you don't have any other questions, we have presented all the information that we have for you tonight. We are super excited to be living with you this year. Brandon, Bonnie, and I do live in our halls, so we will get to know you in a lot of different ways, and we're excited to learn with you this year as well. Welcome to Kennedy and Watson. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer, and we look forward to seeing you on OMI.
We can leave now, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, have a good night, Henry.
You too.
All right.
I know that the two of you, Brandon and Caitlin, are going to be fielding a lot of Kennedy stuff and a lot of questions in the future. So I'm gonna try to hold down the fort at Watson, but I will reach out if I need help.
Awesome. That sounds great. We will make it work. Yeah, it'll be great.
It will. I'm really looking forward
If
to it.
y'all have any questions or you want to chat on something that's not recorded, let me know. All right, but I'll probably go ahead. Yeah, we can end our meeting if folks don't have any questions.
You had a lot of good questions.
Yeah. I have a couple to follow up on because I haven't gotten them before. So
I didn't, like I said, I tried to look some of them up as we were going and I was like, I don't see it in here.
Yeah. So we will definitely look some of those up. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I will let y'all go. Yeah, sorry, Brandon.
Like, I have questions, but it's not
Yeah.
regarding to this. And I
Yeah.
don't necessarily know if I should say it since we're recording
Cool,
and
yeah.
then the
Do you
students are
want-
still in.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I can open up a Google video if y'all want.
Okay.
And we can pop in there real quick. That's fine. I'll invite you.
Okay.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.